Hey guys, welcome to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after show on the stream.tv. As you will notice, I'm not Bryan. And if you notice the big pan over, he's actually not in either one of these seats.
And I'm not Sarah.
He's off being a superhero.
I'm still Daniel.
So I get to host it with these amazing dudes. Got Daniel to my right, Joe to my left.
Hey.
It's a hashtag show takeover. That's what's going on. So please jump into the chat with us live. We'll get into that. And make sure you follow that hashtag AOSAS so that we can chat on the Twitters. Yes. All right, guys. So up first, we're supposed to talk about the state of the team, but I feel like there's something a little bit more important.
There's something far more pressing, all right? And guys, I don't know if you guys know what's happening right now.
But
Can I say it since I'm new?
Please.
Please.
Shotgun axe.
Shotgun axe!
Oh my God.
We finally got it.
We got it.
It changed my life. It changed my life. It's
to be
Mack
fair,
for president.
It's a shotgun cleaver.
That picture almost looks like Daryl from The Walking Dead, just cooler.
Yeah,
Way
exactly.
cooler.
Come on, man.
It's a shotgun cleaver. He had to, make do. He MacGyvered it, but we got it.
Oh,
and
man.
he said it.
He said it, and that's what made it legitimate.
The writers were definitely in that room. Fan service. Shotgun axe.
Thank you for giving Mack his ultimate weapon.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
I mean, he doesn't need powers. He doesn't need powers anymore. Anybody needs to worry about Mack having powers. He's a big dude, shotgun axe.
That's all he needs.
Look at him.
If I saw that dude holding that thing, I would immediately drop my weapon and run.
That's it. I'm like, oh, well, I give up.
Like, thank you, sir. You can have your things back. I'm so sorry.
Oh
Okay, but now to the actual topic we're supposed to talk about, the state of the team. When we opened this episode, everyone kind of took the advice that Bryan's done as well. It seems like they're all on vacation. Hive, they don't really know what to do with because they haven't heard of him yet.
Yeah.
And Mack's visiting his brother.
Yeah.
And then that's really kind of it, right? Everyone's just kind of hanging out.
Wasn't that kind of cool, though? Like, this is kind of a departure from everything else that they've kind of done. It was a Mack-centric episode, which I think we kind of wanted and needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also like the fact Gaius Charles played his brother, Ruben, who's I'm a huge fan of Friday Night Lights, so it's good to see him on this. But I think it's also interesting that Simmons is, you can tell she's training to be a stronger agent because she doesn't want to be the weak link.
Yeah.
She's feeling super guilty that she let Lash out and he went off and killed everybody.
Oh, man. Yeah, true.
She's worried that, Fitz has died 1,000,000 times for her, and she's just sitting there and doing nothing. So I think it's great that she's training and trying to be better.
I think she needs to train, actually. I mean, nonetheless, she should learn how to be able to defend herself. I mean, we saw her last time marooned on some weird world doing God knows what, and then she had to be saved. So it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should train her just in case.
Just in case.
Just
But does that make you guys feel frightful for her safety now that she's getting field training?
Absolutely.
Like, she's one of my favorite characters.
I know.
And I don't want her to die.
I know.
Well, Fitzsimmons.
No,
They are
just
Armide.
I'm good with just Simmons. I like Fitz a lot, but I like Simmons. She's very attractive.
Dude,
Well,
Fitz,
that's why you like her. She's beautiful.
Fitz can be a bad A.
I
mean,
like
really.
Fitz. I think Fitz is witty. I like his character, but I don't want either of those two to die. I don't want anybody to die.
No.
Well, this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. People are going to die.
Exactly.
I also like that she and May, Agent May, are going to have a nice little partnership and a little togetherness. They're going to go on a little journey, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it's going to be a fun new dynamic for them.
Well, I think, and they need that to happen ultimately because Mockingbird is gone.
Right.
So with no Mockingbird, it's like, well, who is she going to relate to? Who is she going to connect with? Oh, well, there you go. And we'll just bring them together and make it happen.
Well, are you guys? There's also the fact that they could possibly start phasing out some of these past characters that have been on the show for a while and start bringing in the Secret Warriors, because this is a big theme of the season. Has been Secret Warriors. We got Yo-Yo in the season return.
Yeah.
And we know that there's possibly going to be more Secret Warriors coming in.
Right.
So does that mean it's the old guard? This is actually the old guard changing? Who knows?
Changing the guard.
We hope so. I mean, we know that Yo-Yo somehow will be involved later because as our stinger for the very opening of this season, or the return, we had Yo-Yo before her arms get cut off.
Right.
And we see blood kind of floating through. And
Right.
in that,
Spoil that for people? I mean,
No, that's what
happened.
And we talked about that already, about her arms being cut off, blah, blah, and at least in the comic. Hey, if it happens in the show, who knows? I mean, this is Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Guys, so I'm a little new to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this season a little bit. I have a question for you.
Okay.
So the president knows Coulson's alive. Hydra knows Coulson's alive. The S.H.I.E.L.D. knows Coulson's alive. But the Avengers don't know Coulson's alive.
Not at
But
all.
they have Vision on their team.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Yes, correct.
That's exactly what's happening.
Correct.
Is that the issue as far as you in that synergy that's not happening?
I don't get it. Like you would think the Avengers would be smarter. They made Ultron, but they don't know that Coulson's alive.
Well, we all know that this show is the red-headed stepchild of Marvel. They don't really care. They're not bringing it all together. They're just kind of like, well, this is going to happen because we're going to do a movie soon, in 2 years.
Yeah.
Now get from point A to point B. And that's it.
But speaking of that, though, I think overall this episode was actually pretty good. I felt like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. sometimes gets a bad rep for being Marvel's redheaded stepchild. But this, I feel like, was a pretty cohesive episode that was very entertaining, action-driven and story-driven at the same time.
I think it's
and planting the seeds for the future.
Absolutely. I think it's the best one of the season so far.
Oh, definitely. Definitely, I agree.
It started off with a bang and it kept going and just ramped up the rest of the way.
I mean, it gave us what we needed.
Mack.
Shotgun axe.
Shotgun axe. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, I had to say it again.
All right, guys, make sure you jump in, use that hashtag AOSAS, and in the live chat on YouTube so that you can join this conversation that we'll talk about in a little bit. But now let's move on to what the episode was about, Watchdog.
Well, Watchdog, I mean, there's someone that's been in Marvel, at least within the comics, for quite some time. They first appeared in like 1987. So they've been around. Their whole thing is essentially, well, it's very relevant to what's happening now. They're conservatives to the max, essentially. They're anti-inhuman, and if the Marvel universe was whole, they'd be anti-mutant, essentially. They're not fans of like they'll bomb abortion clinics. They're anti-homosexuality. Like all these things that you're like, whoa, these are topics that I didn't expect you guys to talk about. But they go into it. Yeah. And so the thing is, for us now, we're finally seeing them, and then we're also seeing them with a lot of power behind them. So
Felix Blake.
Yeah. There you go.
Has popped up.
But what a better way to introduce a hot topic team, or hot topic issue with a Marvel team.
Absolutely.
I think that's
definitely
brilliant by Marvel, is bringing in a team like the Watchdogs. That's because it's definitely relevant to what's going on in culture now. I mean, but I think that it's smart to do that. And I also think that they're planting the seeds here. I think that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. needed a villain team to kind of combat, and I think this is going to be it. And it seems like it's going to be a chess match now.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's what's really cool about this.
Well, for me, it just feels like essentially what's happening is Hydra is building its forces once again, essentially, and they're just going to have the Watchdogs as.
Can we play a game
forces.
every time you say essentially, so the audience at home has to take a shot?
Okay.
That's your drinking game, audience.
Yeah, make that happen.
Drink your orange
essentially,
juice.
I'll find your word. I'll find it. But that's what I feel is happening. They're building that up, and I'm not going to say that word. They're building it up so this way they can have their own team to go against, well, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But Blake is back. We know that he's not dead.
No.
Not dead.
He's kind of like their leader, per se, but we know that somebody else is pulling those strings. That's what's making this interesting. And that's where the cat and mouse part of this comes in. Malik is obviously
part of that.
But how far does that reach? Is this going to have ramifications in Civil War? Because listen, when we first start off this, it's a news story that the Watchdogs are pretty much threatening that they're going to do something pretty harsh.
Yeah.
They blow up that building, but in the Civil War, this goes back to the Marvel Civil War. And when we watch the trailers, we also know there's an attack on some kind of government thing there too.
That's right.
Now, could this be something that enacts a part of what enacts the Civil War for Captain America's team? I mean, really, this could start all tying together. Hopefully, fingers crossed, writers.
Well, then, so are you saying that's something even larger than just?
Well, I think if you're looking at it from a surface level, I think that with the Watchdogs. So go ahead.
No, I was like, can we say it? Just say it.
Say what?
Just say who do
Who
we
you think it is?
Well, who does it who's the one pulling the strings in the comics?
Pulling the strings in the comics, in the comic books, pulling the strings in the comics is the Red Skull.
Yes.
However, and we haven't seen him in any trailers yet, but we know that he's cast. Baron Zemo is going to be the villain in Civil War, or at least one of the villains in Civil War, I should say.
That's right.
So maybe Baron Zemo is the one that's kind of pulling the strings here. We don't know that yet.
And that would be interesting.
I think that's very interesting because Hydra is still alive. Hydra's still out there.
Oh, yeah.
The Avengers have not eradicated this.
Right, and right now, I mean, we have Hive pretty much running Hydra right now. So I mean, you know, he's out there in Ward's body, but no one knows.
Until next week, it seems.
But that's what we have running Hydra right now. So right now, it could just be that they're replacing it, letting him pull the strings until we get to Baron Zemo.
It's true.
There's always another head, right?
Oh, there's always another head.
Cut off one, two more grow.
There's always another one.
I like that.
Awesome. Well, make sure you guys use the hashtag AOSAS, join the live chat, and we can all discuss these crazy theories that these guys have.
Well, I'm really curious to see what people at home think about that.
Absolutely.
I'm so into it. I want to know what everyone else thinks, so see if I'm... Validate me. Validate me.
So with the pairing of Simmons and May, we're now going to go back after Lash. They kind of almost have forgotten about him in a way because they've been distracted. People leaving. You know, there hasn't been a whole lot going on.
I've forgotten about
You know,
Lash.
he fell
I'm
through.
done.
I mean, like he fell through the floor and then disappeared, and they're like, "Well, we'll come back to him. We'll think about that in like 10 episodes."
They essentially let loose this dangerous creature out into the world. They just looked at the hole and was like, yeah, well, all right, I guess we'll find him later. You don't do that. That's not how you take care of the world. You don't just let it run loose and we'll see what happens later. You don't do that. And that's why I'm just like, I'm done with Lash.
Yeah, it's
You're like, done with Lash. You don't even care?
No,
It's May's husband. You should care a little bit.
May barely cared when she killed him.
There you go.
She cared a lot. There's a lot of pain.
She cared a lot, but she seemed to have forgot it pretty quickly as well.
Yeah.
Because he was a bad guy, and it took her a really long time. I think really until now.
What is it? Wait, what's the word?
Stop talking.
Whatever.
It took her until now to realize that he wasn't doing it by his own fruition. Like it wasn't him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's not Andrew.
They
Lash.
said in this episode that he hasn't fully turned yet.
He hasn't fully turned yet, which is why this cure that they've been working on could work for him, which gives her a little bit of a glimmer of hope that she doesn't want but needs.
Let me ask you guys odds. Is he going to fully turn, or are they going to save him? Daniel?
I believe, yes, he's going to fully turn only because they gave that little answer away last week when they said the whole thing about, well, it's part of like an evolution. When someone does turn and they get into that Terrigen mist, it's what's needed.
Right.
So what's missing is what's needed. He was supposed to create this level of balance. So I think if now we're seeing even more people get infected with the Terrigen mist, so he's going to have to create that level of balance and start cutting people off.
I think he's going to fully turn, and I think they're going to end up actually having to kill him, and it's going to be very dramatic.
Really?
That's what I think.
I think he's not going to turn. And I think that what's going to happen is that somehow May's going to end up paying for it, and she's going to end up dying.
Oh.
Whoa.
I know.
It's
deep, but that's what
deep.
I think.
You think? No.
Look at them.
Here's my
Look at them. They're beautiful.
How relevant can May's character be with the Secret Warriors coming in? She's
well, then just kill off Mack. What are you saying?
I don't think that's going to happen.
How relevant? She's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D, so let's kill her off.
She is actually my favorite character on the show.
Let's kill off Fitzsimmons.
Kill them all and start over.
Let's kill off Coulson again.
Oh, jeez.
Again, I know. Jeez.
That's what you're saying. You're saying because she's not an Inhuman with all this coming in, that she's never going to die.
What I'm saying is that I think that her story arc at this point, with saving him, is going to be wrapped up, and there's not going to be a purpose for her at this point. That's what I think.
It makes sense. I mean, I will say
balance. I'm going with balance. What's Mack's purpose? Balance.
Mack's purpose is to eventually lead that team, and I think he's set up as the character to do that.
So we're going to get another spinoff?
Well, hey, damage control's coming.
So. That's true.
Well, hey, that was an Easter egg. That was definitely an Easter egg.
So many Easter eggs.
They also mentioned a little bit of Hell's Kitchen in the crawler right down at the bottom. Gang War in Hell's Kitchen, et cetera, et cetera.
Tony Stark.
As always.
Ultron.
They were
the Avengers.
The Avengers. They were name dropping left and right.
They were. As long as they can get them out, they were happy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
We're real.
It's like, so you don't think these universe connect? I'm going to throw in a bunch of names that you'll know.
That guy in the writer's room is busy. He's busy. Doing it all day.
He's reading he's just reading fan tweets the whole time. Oh, you don't think we can?
You don't think we're gonna do that? Just watch me.
Well, I'll show you.
Shotgun X coming soon. Like it's
Fine,
exactly.
you get that. We're killing everybody.
Exactly.
All right, guys, make sure you use that hashtag AOSAS. Join the live chat in the chat room and join this crazy conversation. Do you think that Joe's right, that they're going to heal Lash and kill off May? I think that's terrible. I don't want to listen to that.
Or maybe, hey, maybe they heal Lash in terms of the sense of, like, they heal him, but then the cure's wrong and then he dies. Like, that could also be a possibility, too. I'm not married to the idea of May dying, but I'm just saying that I don't think he's going to fully turn.
Okay. Well, I know we don't normally do this, but the preview for next week looks awesome. And I want to talk about what could be coming up. We see that they finally see Ward, aka Hive, and it like Fitz is like, somehow he knows it's not quite the right human.
Yeah,
it's not him,
exactly.
but he doesn't know what it is. We have Malik flipping tables with powers.
Yeah, well, some weird
Yeah,
suit.
with that suit, that was pretty cool.
It was like a geriatric aid suit or something. And
Like-
like, "Ah!" Yeah, so I didn't know what was going on there.
and now they're going to be touching people and seeing the future. What kind of future are they going to see?
The future after Civil War.
Oh, you think it's going to go that far?
Well, I don't
wonder.
know, because you gotta realize that just Marvel in general, we know that there's going to be an Inhumans movie, or at least as of now there is. Have they really been planning it for this now to be 4 years later that it's going to all tie in? That seems like a far stretch for me.
Right.
So I don't know.
Were they that smart?
But that's the point too, because a lot of people, this is one of those shows that people could look back on if this does all work out, that, oh wow, this really did all pay off during this movie.
Oh, geez.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah.
But then again, nobody knows Coulson's alive in the adventure, so
Yeah.
They're
who
not
knows?
the redheaded stepchild. They do care.
Well, we hope. We hope.
Yeah.
Because it would be great to
Somebody has to
actually
know what
see
they're
it
doing.
build up a little bit more. I would love for the show to continue on just a little bit more.
What do you think is going to happen now that they see that Ward is alive and that he's not dead and that he's this other creature?
Well, how's that going to affect Skye or
Daisy?
Daisy.
How's that going to affect Daisy? Because we know that he was, and even with that, now with him being Hive, right?
Yeah.
Somehow he still has some of Ward's memories. And you
Yeah.
know how Ward felt about Daisy.
Right.
So now that she's with, the other dude, what's the other guy's name?
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
There you go.
Adorable.
Thank you. How's that all going to play out in that weird Inhuman now alien love triangle? Because all three of them are Inhumans essentially now.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
they are.
Yeah, he did mention how we don't kill our own.
Yeah.
So
Well, he doesn't feed off their own.
He doesn't feed off of them. Oh, that's true.
he doesn't
You've got
eat
a
them.
point. You've got a point. He doesn't feed off of them, but he can still have them killed.
Exactly.
I do wonder how that connection is going to work out, and I wonder if they're actually going to. Well, that confrontation I think is going to happen, and people are already expecting it. So hopefully that writer in that room will, get us where we need to be.
Shotgun X.
Shotgun X.
All right, guys, make sure you use that hashtag AOSAS and jump in that live chat. Coming up next, we're going to be looking at your tweets, chatting with you, and answering your questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in case you missed it live.
In case you missed it live.
In case you missed it live.
Oh, you'd want to take the time travel the whole way back.
Oh my God.
We had a crazy vampire threesome.
And you can't unsee that. That's burned into my brain now.
I was like,
How did you get here? No. Look at me, I'm dancing.
You know why we saying yes. You know why we saying yes.
he was like, yeah, I'll tell you whatever you want.
He is quite something.
And we're like, inseparable. She was shadier than Sunglass Hut with Ray-Bans on sale, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it wasn't. So come on.
You just went to a totally different direction on that.
When a billionaire goes broke, it means he's got like $4 million.
Hold the phone.
Hold on.
Bro.
I found her to be
deliciously out of control.
Oh man, looking forward to this fight.
Ooh, they about to get together. Watch, it's about to go down.
Somebody better take some pictures of this.
She just slapped the crap out of Nick.
And he's just doing that.
It's all good.
You can't count anything out.
Look at you.
It's been another awesome night at the Stream.TV, guys.
awesome.
Thank you for joining us, you guys.
Yes.
We love you.
Whoop. Hey guys, welcome back. And we are now going to be getting into your Twitter questions. I'm going to have Joe read them off for me.
All right, first tweet is from @LookingSkyward. All caps, by the way, so she's yelling at this point. I swear to God, if Fitz dies, I will be so done. The sad part is, I wouldn't put it past the writers now.
That was, yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it did happen, like I said, I wouldn't put it past the writers. I mean, usually when something gets kind of stale or we need more of something, well, people die. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And is he expendable? Kind of.
Is he, though?
I mean, I don't want him to die. Oh my God, don't think that. That's not what I meant.
His character I felt this season has been redeemed in a sense. Like, he's becoming a hero, he's becoming more of a forefront S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
Yeah.
Instead of just a guy behind a computer.
That's true.
And I love that about this character. I feel it's a little too soon to kill him off.
Okay.
I agree.
I
I don't
love
know if
his
it happened, but
character.
that was a big rage during this entire episode. I saw on Twitter, everyone was thinking that they were going to kill him off.
Seriously.
Yeah, what was that? Why did everyone think that somebody was going to die in this episode?
Well, because, one, Ruben was getting a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Fitz doesn't usually go out that much. And he was with Daisy. And
I
Daisy,
see. So they did their job. They made you think he was vulnerable because he wasn't an actual S.H.I.E.L.D. Like
Exactly.
a field agent. Okay.
Exactly.
Good job, writers.
Shake things up,
Shake
you know?
it up.
Next tweet from Hayes Rome. I actually thought that was I thought that
was
you,
me,
Daniel.
right?
You
It's
were
not
tweeting
me.
yourself.
It's not me.
I'm just sitting here trying to figure out what Nickelodeon and The Splat have against Fitz.
Did you see that?
But it's true. That looks
true. When I saw it, I was like,
The
what?
thing on
That's
his neck
Splat.
looks
Why
just
is that
like it.
happening? What was it doing? I couldn't even, I was like, they weren't explaining it well. What was it even doing to him?
It was the thing that they shot
Well,
on
I
the
know it
building.
shot
you
him.
know.
Hit him in
At
the
first,
neck
I
like
thought those
a
were
beast.
paintballs, and I was like,
Right, that's what I thought. I was like,
really
what are they-
threatening group, guys.
Yeah.
Really threatening.
They're like, how
group.
dare you?
People with paintballs. Was it like sucking his soul? Dear
But
gonna
the technology
implode.
of what it did was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But where did they get that technology? Do we know?
Didn't they say it was Tony Stark?
Well, they
Was
said
it
they
Tony
mentioned
Stark?
they mentioned something about how Stark did blah blah blah, and then they kind of mentioned that maybe it was reverse engineered from just one aspect or one ingredient of Stark.
So I thought
what
that
Stark
was-
made.
Because
They
you know what
kept
that
mentioning
reminded
I
me
thought
of a
that's
little
what
bit?
Felix was complaining about.
That reminded me of when in Ant-Man, when they have the building shrink and it kind of implodes like that.
Oh yeah,
It reminded me a little bit of that.
True.
I don't know why, but
that's
it did.
true.
All right.
Next tweet, @Brandon DNH. I really can't handle all this anti-Inhumans talk of the parallels it draws to the real-world issues.
Absolutely. And it's not something that comic books are not known for. I mean, X-Men is all about discrimination.
Yeah.
The word mutant is basically the word homosexual.
Well, at the time in the 60s, it was an allegory for racism.
Exactly.
So, you know, if you're anybody that feels kind of like trapped in a thing,
Well,
that you can't share with the outside world, then you can relate to those
yeah, if
characters.
you feel like a marginalized group, then
Right.
definitely that's what it was, and that's amazing that we still are able to bring that back even here. And yeah, there was the anti-inhuman rhetoric, which definitely a lot of people were like, oh, I'm really uncomfortable with it. I can understand why he was in that tweet, but to see how they're addressing it on both ends, and to actually see people that you didn't expect to have those particular feelings actually have them,
Yeah.
that becomes even more interesting.
I like the dynamic like of having it be Mack's brother that started to get brainwashed in that way.
I did too.
And Mack also didn't like Inhumans, and seeing his entire arc of actually becoming friends with them and seeing them as people, and then hearing his almost his old words coming out of his brother's mouth. It was just kind of a moment he had of clarity, like, whoa.
It's a great overarching theme of tolerance.
Tolerance,
Exactly.
absolutely.
That's what's going on there.
All right, Daniel.
Oh,
What's
well.
happening in the chat room?
Well, in the chat room, I'll tell you right off the bat, there was something that I saw interesting. Shane actually, hey Shane, what's up? How you doing? hi, you can type something back to me. We'll be friends. Anyway, all right. Shane says, what if he fully turns and kills Hive Ward? He's speaking most likely about Lash, and that's actually interesting because what if that does happen? I think that
trumps my theory.
right? It does. It's a good theory.
That's a really great
if
theory.
It does happen, then oh my God, that's it. That's it. There's nothing else that would be better.
Isn't the whole thing? There's nothing they know that can kill Hive.
Exactly.
Except for maybe him. I think that's a great.
What a redeeming quality, and because that's his thing too.
Yeah.
That's Lash's thing is to actually kill other like Inhumans.
Well, he's all about balance.
He's
That's
the
what
balance.
he's supposed to do.
That's the balance we need.
So that would be exactly.
That is the balance we
that
need.
may actually happen. I think it will. Also, I did notice something interesting while we were talking about Ward and how he's going to feel finally meeting Daisy.
Oh, Daisy with him.
Well, Martin actually says, well, Ward had pretty much moved on after she tried to kill him in the middle of season 1 and went to Agent 33. So thank you for reminding us because, yeah, at that moment I did kind of forget.
But there were those times, though, where, especially when they had him captured, he was like, I would never lie to you, Daisy. I would never lie to you. I know your father is. I would never lie to you.
People move on all the time. Do you see my quote?
Yeah.
People move on
this.
all the time. It doesn't mean that they completely lose feelings. You know, it's love the one you're with. There's a whole song about it. You can't be with the one you love.
Love the one you're with.
So I'm kind of excited to see what happens
Also,
with that.
about the technology with the bombs. It was Howard Stark. These bombs in season 1, they were all the way in season 1.
Wow.
And
good
then,
callback to whoever wrote that.
The implosion bombs were, it's Martin. Martin, you are killing it tonight, man. Yeah, the implosion bombs were from Agent Carter season 1, and they were created by Howard Stark and stolen from him.
There you go.
Sorry, Martin meant season 2. Still, Martin, you're killing it. You're killing it.
Martin's pretty much the fact checker for the show. He
Exactly, right.
Thank
Anytime
you.
something goes wrong, I'm just like, well, what did Martin say?
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching tonight. Make sure you use that hashtag AOSAS and keep chatting with us live and after in the comments so that we can keep this conversation going all week. And we'll see you next time.